Welcome, everybody, to the Late Night Review. And tonight, one of my favorite movies, Hard Times with Charles Bronson. This movie is a movie I grew up with. It's a movie that I have a lot of nostalgia for. But besides the nostalgia, it's a good movie. In fact, I think it's my favorite underground fighting movie of all time. Yes, I like Lionheart. I like Every Which Way But Loose, Any Which Way You Can, even though Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can had a lot more besides fighting in there. It was comedy, adventure, and then with the ape, Clyde, a lot of different, love story, drama. So I don't know if I would categorize that or categorize those movies as just fighting movies, but I would definitely categorize Hard Times and Lionheart as fighting movies, particularly underground prize fighting movies. I love the Rocky series, but it's not underground, and there's no street fighting except certain scenes. And then in part five, they had the big street fight, Sylvester Stallone and Tommy Morrison. I actually like that movie, Rocky Five. I actually appreciate that movie. A lot of people don't. I like it. It's actually one of my favorite Rocky movies. But that's another series, another movie. Today or tonight, I'm talking about the Late Night Review, but tonight I'm talking about Hard Times with Charles Bronson. This is a movie that I still enjoy today. It's actually one of my favorite movies of all time, not only because of what it is, but Charles Bronson's one of my favorite movie stars of all time. And he's really believable, especially as a tough guy, because in real life, he was a tough guy. And when I watch this movie, um, it really brings me back, and there's a lot of nostalgia, and it's believable. The acting is pretty good in here, and the fights are pretty good in here. And I think Charles Bronson really does good in the fight scenes. They're believable. And he would have made a good boxer in real life, I think. He was a tough guy, but I think if he was trained, just by the way he throws the combinations, just by the way he moves around, his footwork, his body movements, his attitude, I think he would have been a really good fighter in real life if he pursued that. But he's perfect for this. And him being one of my favorites to watch on screen makes this movie all the more better. James Colburn does a really good job in a supporting role, plays his manager. And everyone in here, Jill Ireland, Charles Bronson's wife in real life, is in this movie, so you don't have to worry about the chemistry of the two in here. Their relationship is kind of strange in here. They like each other. They're kind of on again, off again. There's nothing really dramatic and serious like Clint Eastwood and Sandra Locke in the Every Which Way But Loose movie or Any Which Way You Can. So it doesn't really have that kind of meat on the bones here. It doesn't have that kind of depth to the love story, but it gets to the point. Very good movie. It's one of my favorite Charles Bronson movies of all time. Um, I really like the Death Wish series, except for part five, but the first four are really good. I like The Mechanic, and there's other Charles Bronson movies that I like quite a bit, Mr. Majestic. But this is right up there, probably in my top mm, five, I would say, five or six Charles Bronson movies, maybe even four. Just depends on how I feel and what mood I'm in on what day. Like the Death Wish movies, do I like one and two better? Well, part one kind of shows his journey, how he got there, but part two shows that he actually got the specific guys who violated his family and attacked his family. So sometimes I like part two better than part one. I like part four better than part three often. So that's another series, maybe for another video. I might cover those in the future. But Hard Times tells a story. Cheney, played by Charles Bronson, he's down on his luck. It's during the Depression era, trying to make money, trying to get by. He's a tough guy. He figures, I can fight. Why not use my skill to make money in these tough times? And he does it. And he surprises people too, because he plays a gentleman who's older than most of his opponents, if not all his opponents in this movie. I like the camera work. I like the music. I like the acting, the fight scenes. It's not a slow movie. Some people might think it does drag on just in a few scenes here and there, but all in all, if you judge it in its totality, this picture is not slow. This picture is actually pretty fast paced, especially for the time that it was made. And if you're not too familiar with Charles Bronson and his movies, people have heard the name, especially the new generations. They've probably heard the name, but never really got in depth into his movies. He's well known. I mean, he's one of the biggest stars of all time, but newer generations might not be as familiar with him. So if you're interested in action, get into his movies because he was a great action movie star. And I think don't neglect him because if you like action, you're missing out. You're missing. You're missing out. So check him out and buy this movie. Get it any way you can. I like it. I grew up with it. The fight scenes are not fake. There's no movie that does a fight scene exactly perfect, I don't think, but this movie's pretty close. And I think the fight scenes are very well done. Charles Bronson, like I said, he would have made a good fighter. The way he throws his combinations and the way he moves his head and how he reacts, I think suggests that he had it. If he wanted to pursue something like that in real life, he had it. But if you haven't seen this, try to watch it. It's definitely worth watching. I think that the movies that I talk about on the late night review, yes, they're movies that I enjoy. I don't really talk about movies that I don't like on this late night review. I don't really plan on talking about movies that I don't like. This is just the late night review is probably, at least this is my intention, probably going to feature movies that I just like, not movies that I don't like. Although I will mention movies that I don't like here and there while I'm talking about the ones I do like. So I hope you tune in again because my plan is to make another one, especially if I get enough views. And check out Hard Times. I think it's a very good movie. And this has been the Late Night Review. Like and subscribe. And good night, everybody.